Taxi driver don't want to drive through, so they drop off customers on the corner.
San Francisco small business owners are frustrated.
It's a shame that the heart of San Francisco has to face something like this.
Now they're hoping a political outsider will throw them a lifeline.
My number one priority is public safety.
But can Mayor-elect Daniel Lurie cut through the red tape?
San Francisco City Hall is it's just a bureaucratic chasm. It just is.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Elizabeth Cook.
I'm Ann Makovec in for Liz. Imagine being tasked to fix San Francisco's problems. We have the drug crisis, the housing shortage, the $700 million budget deficit. The list goes on. And the salary is now $1 a year. That is what Mayor-elect Daniel Lurie has just agreed to. He says he's going to get the city back on track. But is it realistic? Well, Lurie is here live today. We're going to talk with him in just a few minutes. Daniel Lurie is going to be sworn in as San Francisco's new mayor next month. He made some big promises on the campaign trail, including hiring more police and cleaning up the streets by declaring a fentanyl state of emergency. Our Lauren Tom spoke with a restaurant owner who says Lurie's promised changes can't come soon enough.
San Francisco voters making their voices clear that they are ready for change. And that's no more apparent than right here in the Soma district. Now, I spoke with one local restaurateur who says that he's optimistic about a new administration under Daniel Lurie. But for him, he says, change is mandatory. It's become somewhat of a common practice for restaurateur Gianluca Legrotale to escort his customers down the street to safely make it to his Soma restaurant. He's hoping the city's next mayor will improve streets like this within months.
Taxi driver don't want to drive through, so they drop off customers on the corner. My expectation is that someone opens his eyes or her eyes and understands the level of urgency that we need.
Regularly, he receives reviews like this one, praising his food and experience, but knocking down the restaurant for its location. It's an issue he hoped would improve after investments made by outgoing Mayor London Breed. But despite progress in some areas, what he sees has only gotten worse.
A year and a half ago, I think it marks the beginning of a decline. It's a shame that the heart of San Francisco has to face something like this.
Isian Looper has noticed change in the Tenderloin and is optimistic it will continue under Lurie. But he says the new mayor's biggest challenge will be proving that progress is being made.
And I think the challenge he'll find is that the city works at the speed of the city. And some things are very, very challenging to move faster. That street that I can't walk on, I can walk on. That street that's dirty, it's not dirty anymore. When I call for help, the help comes and gives me the help I expect.
Lurie addressed the public, doubling down on his promises that change is on the horizon.
To execute on that promise of progress, I will create a government centered on accountability, service, and change so that we can be a city that is safe and welcoming to all.
Lurie will take the reins, having never held public office. Housing advocate Todd David says while Lurie will need to learn to navigate the red tape, any new mayor is going to face their challenges.
San Francisco City Hall is it's just a bureaucratic chasm. It just is. And any mayor there is going to be a learning curve.
And for Gianluca, he says he can't afford to risk San Francisco sliding any further into what he calls the rock bottom.
It might be critical for us, and we might have to decide to let go and just move on.
More than a hope, but a need that Lurie will bring the change that his business needs to survive.
Salute.
Well, Daniel Lurie himself is going to join us after the break here live. We're going to ask him how he is preparing to lead the city, the plan, the priorities, and his transition team. We'll be right back. Incoming San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie has picked his transition team. That includes OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and retired fire chief Joanne Hayes-White. There's also former Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs, who right now is a special advisor to Governor Newsom. Newsom's first chief of staff, Ann O'Leary, is also on the team. Former Mayor Willie Brown says he believes Lurie is focused on San Francisco, not political gain.
I gotta believe that his interest will not be to be the next governor or the next president. And if that happens, he's got a good shot because quality people will work with him.
That's quite an endorsement. Lurie says the team is going to come up with a 100-day plan with accountability built in. And joining me live now is San Francisco Mayor-elect Daniel Lurie. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Ann.
So the election has been a little over a month. What have you been doing to prepare to take the reins just next month?
Doing a lot of listening, a lot of walking. I just actually came back from walking down 6th Street and seeing what your previous segment talked about, that restaurant owner struggling with street conditions. Really getting a handle from department heads and elected leaders on what we can do together around making sure that we start delivering results for the people of San Francisco. And I have to tell you, Ann, I'm already loving this. I am learning a tremendous amount, and I'm ready to get to work.
Yeah, so being an outsider, that is one of the challenges, that you have to get to know the department heads and figure out these lines of communication. How challenging has that been?
Actually, it's been great. We have had one-on-one meetings with every single major department heads. We have a couple more this week as well. I've met with the 10 incoming supervisors and supervisor-elects, and we have all come to this sense of agreement that we have to work together. They talk about campaigns in San Francisco being a knife fight and a phone booth. Well, I'm here to tell you that I am alive and well and looking forward to working with everybody to get results for the people of San Francisco.
Now, you've mentioned 6th Street, and we know that is a notorious corridor, but there's a lot of attention right now focused on Union Square. I gotta say, I was there just this weekend, and it almost had like this dystopian feel. You had no normal cabs out, you had Waymos driving around, and a lot of empty storefronts. What are we gonna do about it?
Well, I saw the Chronicle article. It was interesting because I took my kids down there. We went walked by the ice skating rink. We went to Macy's. It was packed on Friday afternoon. And so there are blocks around that are empty, and we have to do something about that. And that's where my top priority comes in, and that's public safety, making sure that we have enough police walking the beat, that we get our behavioral health crisis under control. We get people who are suffering from addiction and mental health issues off the street and into treatment. And then the third priority that I talked about for the last 14 months on the campaign trail, and now this past month during transition period, is making sure that we streamline permitting. We allow businesses to come back to not only Union Square, but to San Francisco and get through the bureaucratic hurdles more easily so that they can open and we can get back to work downtown.
You know, it's interesting, just in this little conversation we've had, my perspective from Saturday night to your perspective on Union Square from Friday. Perception is an issue in San Francisco, and we've all seen the terrible national headlines, and even local people giving up on downtown. But we've seen a lot of good statistics about businesses and homelessness. What do you think is the issue there, and how are you going to attack that perception issue?
Well, listen, I think you need to have a mayor out walking the streets, walking the beat, and making sure that we project this sense of hope and optimism because, and when we are at our best, we know this. We are the greatest city in the world. We have historic challenges to confront, but the entrepreneurs, the innovators, our artists, our creative class, they know what we all know, and that is that when we are at our best, there's no one that can beat us, and there's no stopping our city, Ann.
I will agree with that. You talk about prioritizing public safety. How do you think the current police chief has been doing?
Listen, I sat down with Chief Scott. We're going to have ongoing conversations. What we first and foremost need to do is we need to get a fully staffed police department. We are below 1,500 sworn officers. We need to be somewhere around 2,000. that starts with recruitment. That starts also with a mayor that is going to have the backs of our law enforcement every single day. And that's what I'm committed to doing, always with oversight. But our police need to know that we want them to do their jobs. And last, I'll say this. I don't want our police officers and our firefighters being our homeless outreach workers and our mental health counselors. I want to have trained clinicians going out, addressing what we are seeing on our streets, getting people into mental health and drug treatment beds, and making sure that officers can go back to protecting our small businesses and making sure that our residents feel safe once again walking down the streets of San Francisco.
Yes, that sounds fantastic. It's more of a challenge to actually get it into brass tacks, of course. We're looking at $700 million budget deficit in San Francisco. How are you going to pay for more police?
Well, listen, it's higher than that. I believe we have numbers coming out sometime this week. We are going to have to tackle this budget crisis head on. We can't just cut our way out of it, nor can we balance it on the backs of working families. I won with a mandate, and that mandate was to make tough decisions. I won't be afraid to do that when I take office on January 8th.
So how do we pay for things, though, like more police, if we can't make cuts to fix the problem or balance it on other people's backs? I mean, it just seems like an insurmountable problem.
Nothing is insurmountable when it comes to San Francisco and the people in this city. When you're talking about a behavioral health budget of $700 million, we need to make sure there is accountability in how we spend the taxpayers' dollars. We do have a $16 billion budget. It is not a resource issue. It really is a spending issue. We have to live within our means, just like every viewer watching. We have budgets that we have to contend with at home. We need to do the same at City Hall, and I will do that. I will not hesitate to make tough choices, but the basics, like public safety, will not be touched.
Let's talk a little bit about AI. You appointed the head of OpenAI to your transition team, Sam Altman, and said that you would be leaning into the technology. What does that mean? What does that look like?
Well, that means that San Francisco is the home of AI, and I want to continue to lead on that. I want that sector to know that they have a home here in San Francisco, but we can't just lean in just on technology or just on AI. We need to have a diverse group of businesses that we go out and recruit from around the region and around the country. But technology has been a big driver of our success over the last 10 years. And I want to lean in where it's possible. And AI, I want that to be the home and have a home here in San Francisco going forward. But I also want to lean into biotech. I want to lean into our arts and our culture and our creative class. And I also want to lead again on climate and clean tech. There is so much at our disposal here in terms of entrepreneurs and innovators. I want to lean into all of that.
I know you have a lot of people in your ear these days. What is some of the best advice that you've been given about becoming San Francisco's next mayor?
To listen. And that's what I'm doing with all of these department heads, these elected leaders, and honestly, with the people that I met on 6th Street just an hour ago. There is a sense in this city that if we come together, if we work together, if we once again start listening to each other, like truly listening, Anne, the answers are out there. We just need to work together. And I'm excited by the conversations I've had, as I said, to start off this segment, with the elected leaders that I will be working side by side with, that our best days are ahead of us. We just need to work together.
I love it. This could be a brand new day for the city of San Francisco. Mayor-elect Daniel Lurie, thanks for spending the time. Of course, we're going to be talking plenty during the next several years.
Thank you, Anne.
We're going to be right back. Thanks for watching. You can always get all the latest headlines and weather over on KPIX Plus. And remember to like and click the button on the bottom left of your screen to subscribe for the biggest Bay Area news.